Hi, my name is Ted Knowlton, and I am the Deputy Director at Wasatch Front Regional Council. Today I'd like to share with you an overview of the scenarios we are exploring as the foundation for the Regional Transportation Plan that addresses the transportation needs for the Wasatch Front from the year 2015 through the year 2040. As you can see from the graph, based on current population growth, we expect over 2 million people will be added to Utah from 2010 to 2040. A lot of work is needed to prepare for this growth. What will it mean for transportation, housing, and employment? How do we maintain quality of life? As we think about this large amount of growth and how it might unfold in our unique region, we are exploring a range of different potential futures. One reason to explore scenarios is that we do not know how this growth will unfold. Exploring a variety of plausible future outcomes helps us plan for an uncertain future. Scenarios also are a way to help explore how potential transportation decisions affect and fit with development patterns. When a road or rail line is built, it affects where people want to live and work and thus the location of new development. In addition, when a city grows more in one part of town or another, more people will travel to this location, and it can change what transportation solutions we build. Overall, it makes sense for us to explore the interplay between transportation and land use as we think about meeting the transportation needs over the coming decades for our future population. This regional transportation planning effort takes place within the context of a shared regional vision called the Wasatch Choice for 2040. This vision was developed through a broad grassroots process that began in 2005 with over 1,000 residents from Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. The process explored how growth and transportation might work together to improve quality of life. A key ingredient of the Wasatch Choice for 2040 vision is working to have a notable amount of growth in centers such as downtown areas, main streets, and major office parks, especially when they are coordinated with light rail, commuter rail, highways, and major arterials. Centers near regional transportation help people get to more destinations in less time. Here is a range of land use and transportation scenarios that we are exploring within the context of the Wasatch Choice for 2040. Scenario 2 is consistent with our last regional transportation plan. Scenario 1 is less centered than the last regional transportation plan. Scenario 3 is more centered than 2, and Scenario 4 is the most centered of these scenarios. How much growth happens in centers is an easy way to understand the differences between the scenarios. Please note that as you explore the pros and cons of each scenario, know that they all have the same number of people, jobs, and amount of money spent on regional transportation. As you decide which scenario you prefer, you can attribute their advantages or disadvantages not to the amount of money or amount of growth, but rather to how transportation and development patterns unfold. We are exploring a variety of centers expected to grow in the future that are similar to places we know now, like downtown Salt Lake City, Provo, Ogden, and emerging downtowns like Sandy. Centers can also be places like Station Park in Farmington, Fireclay District in Murray, Cottonwood Corporate Center, and smaller centers that are meeting the market demand for working and living in accessible, convenient locations across our metropolitan area. The level of centeredness is one way of understanding these scenarios. Another way these scenarios vary is through how much growth happens through infill and redevelopment. We generally expect more growth to happen through infill because growth is constrained by lakes and mountains. We will either see more infill or growth will spill into adjacent valleys. As more growth occurs in developed areas, it tends to support expansion of public transportation, like bus and light rail. As you can see in the charts, this is why we see a relationship between the amount of growth that happens through infill and the investment in public transportation. The housing mix also varies in the scenarios. Today, 2/3 of our housing consists of larger lot single-unit homes. As we consider future housing needs, there are big demographic shifts anticipated. One of them is the retirement of the large baby boom generation, as most will downsize. We know that this will change the demand for housing across our region, but we are unsure exactly how this will affect future housing construction. This is why the 4 scenarios explore a range of housing ideas, such as the possibility of 30% of new homes being small lot single-family units, condos, and townhomes in Scenario 1, to 60% of the homes being smaller single-family units, condos, and townhomes in Scenario 4. We believe that all 4 scenarios are plausible given the significant demographic shifts that we expect. This slide compares the 4 scenarios with regard to the mix of new homes, new growth in roadways versus public transportation investment, and the amount of growth happening in infill locations. We would like you to think about your preferred scenario or pieces from each scenario. But before you choose, we ask you to consider the impacts on quality of life. To help you with that, we have assessed how these different scenarios might achieve each of these goals. A cross-section of performance measures are available on our website. Thank you for exploring these potential futures and taking time to share your ideas. For more information, please browse our website. The feedback that we get from these scenarios is an early step in developing the Regional Transportation Plan. We will take your ideas and feedback combined with comments received from city representatives across the Wasatch Front region to establish a draft composite scenario that will be the basis for the eventual Regional Transportation Plan. A questionnaire is also on our website. Please use it to share which scenario you feel is most likely and which is most desirable. We also welcome your general comments and questions.